Hi, I wanted to chat a little bit about the movie on Netflix called Stutz because a lot of people are talking about it. It's getting a lot of buzz. So, four things come to mind for me when I think about this movie, processing this movie as a provider, as a therapist, but also clients who watch this. And so, I want you to consider four things. One is professional boundaries. Obviously, there are some ethical considerations that come to mind when watching this film. And so that is more so for maybe students in graduate programs and pre licensed or earlier licensed clinicians, or even those of us who've been practicing for a long time, thinking through the different ethical considerations that come to mind. The second is the importance of vulnerability in therapy. The thing that stands out the most to me is the relationship between these two men and how they allowed themselves to be equally vulnerable. And so within that, there's a question about the purposeful self disclosure, but then also the freedom and the authenticity that is required for clients to present with in order for therapy to be impactful and effective. The third thing that comes to mind is the use of practical tools and strategies. Now, I admit I am very much about insight and connection and the process, but every now and then it is important to be reminded about the usefulness of practical tools. Now, I say that with a caveat because not everyone will not every tool will resonate with everyone and not every strategy will work for everyone, but certainly something to consider and think about. The fourth and last thing that comes to mind as it relates to this film, again, whether it be from the therapist perspective or from the client's perspective, is kind of a spin on vulnerability. Not only the vulnerability in terms of openness and sharing of information, but reflecting on the process. I know for me, I often try to remember to ask questions like, how is this going for you? Kind of revisiting the goals and having the conversation, the ongoing conversation around fit and effectiveness, and always welcoming clients to bring that to my attention. And for you as a client, for me as a client, even with my own therapist, thinking through the kind of vulnerability that it takes to really kind of pause and talk about the process, talk about the perceived outcome and where it's going. So, vulnerability, boundaries, ethical considerations, practical tools, and vulnerability in the sense of assessing fit and effectiveness. So, without giving too many spoilers about the film, these are some things that I want you to think about if you, as a provider or as a consumer, as a therapist or as a client, decide to watch the movie on Netflix called Stutz. Take care.